Well, efforts are on to forge a lasting community spirit and togetherness in the Pine. This as the community battles several challenges, including recent incidents of violent crime. The goal is an initiative of the Pineland Soccer Academy, which was formed just over a year ago. Over the weekend, members of the Pine held a picnic at Bath St. John to revive the community spirit, a move that pleased MP for the area, Hamilton Lashley. He says efforts like these are to be commended, adding that everything should be done to ensure communities throughout Barbados are safe.
A celebration of coming back together as one, as a community, putting the 3 P's behind us: people pay, people paying, people prison. And what they're really doing is forging a new dimension in community development through using the methodology of soccer and social interaction among the residents to really stabilize and harmonize the programming in the Pinelands community.
Public Relations Officer of the Pineland Soccer Academy, Colin Herwood, says the idea is to forge lasting bonds in the community through sports, with football being the primary vehicle.
We recognize that within our community there are various problems, social, sporting, and also problems that stretch beyond even what we can imagine. But what we set about to do was to bring back the community together. This program, this picnic, basically is named Bringing Back Together Again. And the Pineland Soccer Academy has gone off in programming and doing programs within the community so as to bring back the community together.
Government is being told it needs to introduce a framework soon to allow people who invest in solar systems to generate electricity to sell the excess to the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited. This is the view of Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agriculture Society, James Paul, who says it is essential if incentives recently announced in the budget to encourage farmers to invest in solar energy are to work. Government says it will provide a rebate of up to $5,000 to farmers who retrofit their livestock housing structures to use solar power.
One of the difficulties, even for, say, dairy farms, poultry farms, or whatever, is that during the day when the sun is out, you're going to be generating electricity. The problem is that the amount of electricity consumed during the day does not, they cannot use it, so it has to go somewhere. So that's the difficulty that they're going to face. So if we can have a situation where at least some legislation can come into place very quickly, that at least encourages Barbados Light and Power to buy back that electricity, that I think is one of the things that's going to be key.
Mr. Paul also says stronger efforts have to be made to promote the agricultural incentives program to the farming community.
Maybe what we have to do is to utilize the various means that we have from time to time towards promoting these incentives in a very active way, and getting farmers to at least to utilize them more. One of the things I've always said, though, that I think that we need to do is maybe guidelines for the use of these incentives need to be made more clear to the farmers, or maybe a booklet that specifies whatever guidelines, because sometimes farmers do make mistakes in applying for the incentives, and that's because that they do not know.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago has announced its intention to extend the state of emergency when it goes to Parliament on Friday, but concerns have been raised about the decision.
1 week into the state of emergency and accompanying curfews, the government is now saying the arrests of suspects and seizure of weapons and ammunition should not be the measuring stick by which to judge the success.
Our seizures and arrests will by no way determine the success or failure of our state of emergency.
But Minister Sandy is maintaining that the government cannot say what the success really is, since the threat over which they are succeeding is a national security secret.
I cannot disclose the information that I have at my disposal.
The President's statement that supports the declaration of the state of emergency speaks only about the threat of reprisal killings and an escalation of crime as a result of a big drug find. Attorney General Anand Ramlogan says the President's statement only provided the rationale and did not go into deeper details.
Insofar as the statement makes reference to the gang, well then that you know that the problem is inextricably intertwined with violent crime and the challenges presented with respect to the gangs.
The AG maintains that the country is being protected from a clear and present danger as a result of the state of emergency.
The ruling United Workers' Party in St. Lucia has suffered a setback ahead of the general elections later this year with the resignation of Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, Marcus Nicholas. Mr. Nicholas, the parliamentary representative for the Dennery North constituency, said that his resignation also from the UWP takes effect immediately. Nicholas was critical of the government's decision to redirect funds from the Dennery North Rural Council to the Dennery South Village Council. He's the second parliamentarian to resign from the UWP. The other being Janine Compton Mambali, the daughter of the late Prime Minister, Sir John Compton. Well, LIAT has announced that it has signed a multi-year agreement with global onboard partners to create in-flight advertising campaigns that include advertising on all seatbacks on their planes. The first campaign was rolled out last week and promotes the island of Dominica and its numerous cultural and music festivals that take place on the island throughout the year. GOBP will work with the carrier and its existing and new advertising partners to implement campaigns that reach passengers traveling through LIAT's 20 destinations in the Caribbean. Head of marketing with the Discover Dominica Authority, Elizabeth Whalen, said she was thrilled to be able to reach all traveling passengers on LIAT and promote Dominica.
Good evening, I'm Kent Jerson with the Business Report. And we begin with news that the Barbados-based airline RedJet is set to resume service tonight. This after it stopped transporting passengers late last week. Michelle Arthur has the latest with that story.
4 days after low-cost carrier RedJet suspended flights because it did not have available planes, it's set to soar again. Confirmation of this from corporate communications executive Nisa Pierre. According to her, the first flight since the airline was grounded was scheduled to leave Barbados for Guyana this evening at 7:30. Another flight, this time from Trinidad to Barbados, is due to arrive at 2:15 tomorrow morning. Ms. Pierre says this enables RedJet to make sure the delayed passengers arrive at their destinations as soon as possible. She says it also ensures that the carrier's schedule returns to normal for all flights by tomorrow. The first flight then is due to depart Barbados for Guyana at 8 a.m. Ms. Pierre offered an apology to RedJet passengers who have been inconvenienced over the past few days and thanked them for their patience. More than 600 passengers were affected by RedJet cancellations between last Wednesday and Friday alone. RedJet has explained that one of its aircraft was being repaired and the other went for maintenance. Some of the affected passengers were accommodated on other flights, while others were promised refunds. Michelle Arthur for the Business Report.
Thank you, Michelle. In other news, Sagicor Financial Corporation has raised close to $150 million in capital with its most recent offer of new shares. This was revealed by Group Chief Operating Officer Richard Kelman at a recent video conference. Calling the initiative a success, he said the subscribers included existing shareholders and the International Finance Corporation.
The IFC, who had originally committed to invest up to $100 million, invested at the end of the day $98.3 million because our shareholders stood up and subscribed $42.2 million. The IFC were allotted $98.3 million, which was spread between $20 million in common shares and $98.3 in preference shares. So at the end, we considered this to have been an extremely successful capital raising. We were able to raise $140.5 million US.
Mr. Kelman also spoke of Sagicor's significantly improved performance in the second quarter against the background of a stalled U.S. recovery, a deepening European crisis, and less than favorable conditions in the Caribbean.
Our group net income jumped from $12 million US in 2010 in the equivalent period to $22 million US in the second quarter of 2011. Our shareholders' net income doubled from $8 million in the similar period last year to $16 million for this second quarter. And earnings per share similarly doubled from 2.8 US cents to 5.7 in 2011.
Now here's a brief summary of today's trading on some of the region's stock exchanges.
Well, a very good evening to all, and we had another hot day here in Barbados, but then again we are in the middle of summer. Take a look at the the temperature reached at the airport. We got up to 32 degrees Celsius. That was hot. The minimum temperature was 25.8 degrees Celsius. At 6 o'clock, the temperature was on its way down, 28.3 degrees Celsius, the humidity 75%, and the winds were coming out of the east at 20 kilometers per hour. No measurable rainfall, the apparent temperature 38 degrees Celsius, but it was not unbearable. In the eastern Atlantic, though, there's some activity. Tropical storm Katia, K-A-T-I-A, Barbados and the island chains. Around 5 o'clock this evening, the center of that system was in the vicinity of 12.7 degrees north, 35.4 degrees west, or some 750 miles to the west of the southernmost Cape Verde Islands. The system is presently moving to the west-northwest at 20 miles per hour, so it is zipping along. And listen to this, maximum sustained winds are in the vicinity of 60 miles per hour. Now, over the next 12-24 hours, this system is expected to be upgraded to a hurricane, so we're going to be watching this system very, very closely. Let's put the cloud in motion. It is presently moving to the west-northwest, as I indicated, at 20 miles per hour, and the projected path is expected to take it to the north of the island chain. That would be sometime around weekend, and of course we're going to be watching it very closely. It's quite unusual for systems to be packing that kind of intensity at this time. But in the island chain today, the high pressure ridge was the dominant feature. You remember we had a line of instability to the south last night. Well, that dissipated, but we're watching this area quite closely. This is associated with a low-level trough. There's an upper-level trough in this general region, some reflection in meteorological terms. This is expected to push into the Barbados and the southern portion of the region later tonight, and as a result, we're going to be looking at cloudy skies and scattered showers. The instability levels are going to continue to rise into tomorrow, and the good chance that we could have some isolated thunderstorms. I'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Well, after the lovely conditions we had here in Barbados today, we are expecting the moisture levels to be increasing as the low-level trough moves into the area under the influence of the upper-level trough. Most of that moisture is going to be pulled northward initially, but by tomorrow, some of the other islands up north, they should be sharing in the activity. So we're going to be looking at cloudy skies, scattered showers, a gradual increase in that moisture tonight. Some isolated thunderstorms, a possibility tomorrow as the moisture pulls into the area and the trough system takes hold. Take a look at our 4-day prediction. We're going to be looking at Wednesday through to Saturday. And by late Thursday, we are seeing a marginal drying out of the atmosphere, fair to partly cloudy skies. But you could very well expect that increase in moisture tonight and into tomorrow. Sunrise in Barbados tomorrow, 13 minutes to 6 o'clock. Sunset will be at 10 minutes after 6. The first high tide, 8 minutes after 5 in the AM. The second is going to be at 24 minutes after 5 in the PM. The first low tide, 5 minutes after 11 in the AM, and the second is going to be at 11:35 in the PM. Seas at this time and projected into tomorrow, slight to moderate in open water and peaking at 2 meters. The winds across the region, easterly to southeasterly, 10 to 35 kilometers per hour. Our predictions for tonight and tomorrow. Tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy with some scattered showers, and tomorrow, cloudy with some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms.